Hey everybody, welcome back to the Collision Hub World's Fair and Exposition. I'm not going to lie, I've been excited about this presentation for quite some time now. We have Nick Dominato with us, and we're going to launch ADASThink, the now award-winning ADASThink. Congratulations, Nick, on that prestigious SEMA award from last week. Man, that must have felt pretty good.
Thanks, Jason.
How was SEMA?
Oh, well, lots of people. Feet got sore, you know how it is.
Oh, yeah. Walked for miles. Okay, perfect.
But yeah,
I'm super excited about this because in our last session, if you missed it, you want to catch it, we talked about the owner's manual and how do you identify different things on the car. And the one and only question that came in is, where can we find all the information if it says it's optional? And what I really wanted to say was, you should stick around for the next show. Well, here we are. Nick, so awesome to have you here.
Thanks so much. And the answer to that question is right here.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a moment I've been looking forward to for the past 10 months. Every once in a while, some revolutionary technology comes along that changes everything. Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, or ADAS, is that technology. It's changing how people buy cars, it's changing how people buy insurance, and it's saving lives in the 35,000 accidents that happen in the United States every year. But up until now, it's not changing how people fix vehicles. And why is that? Well, it's because our industry is still using old tools, old equipment, and old repair methods. Today, we're going to introduce 3 new products that are going to change all of that. So, the first one, we're introducing the most advanced ADAS identification software on the market today. The second is a revolutionary ADAS calibration identification software platform that will identify all of the ADAS calibrations you need to perform based on the repair procedures you're doing on that car. And the third is a breakthrough OEM documentation service that will give you a link in all data or service information to the calibrations you're doing.
Wow.
So, 3 products: ADAS identification, ADAS calibration identification, and OEM documentation.
Awesome.
Cool.
These are not 3 products, Jason. This is 1 product. And we're calling it ADASThink.
You buy one, you get the other 2 for free?
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Exactly. It's a deal at twice the price.
Oh, perfect.
There we go.
And I don't think we can overemphasize just how important these ADAS calibrations are to making sure that the vehicle performs as designed. There's a lot of factors that go into these technologies, and there's a lot of things that require the calibrations following repairs, and it's just critical to make sure that we're putting those customers back in a vehicle that can operate as designed. And that's again why I'm so excited, because we miss a few things, and I know you're going to cover some of that as we go through this. But yeah, we're honored to have you here with us, and we're excited about it.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that we talked about, let me just say something, is that Larry brought it up, and I think Jason, you even brought it in the last show, was we can decode the VIN, and we really need the build sheet. And so what are we looking at when we get the information? The build sheet.
That's right.
And that's what you're getting.
That's right. And my challenge to the industry really is this. We're at a point now where we wouldn't deliver a vehicle without performing a scan on that car. So if you wouldn't deliver a car without performing a scan, why would you deliver that car without checking to make sure that those ADAS systems are not functioning properly? That's where we need to get to as an industry, and that's what we're trying to deliver with ADASThink.
Yep.
So we're going to revolutionize the way that ADAS is fixed in the industry. We're calling it ADASThink, and here it is.
Perfect. Does it come with a ladder and the clipboard?
All included.
Okay.
Are we playing dominoes? Because I really figure out which way the domino's supposed to look.
And can I print that off my own printer, or are you going to send that to me?
You can do it on your own printer.
Oh, good,
and absolutely. You don't have to worry about what size it is.
So I can shrink it down and print 2 on one page?
That's right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. You can just take a domino and put it right in front of the camera,
and
you're good to go.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a software system. It's in our browser. We're going to show it to you later.
This is not the system, just to be clear.
That's right. So we will get to that later.
So he's going to charge us $99.95 just to have a white piece of paper with some dots on it.
It comes with a ladder, though.
Oh, it comes with a ladder too.
That's
Okay,
right.
great. There we go.
But the ladder only holds 225 pounds, so.
Oh,
Crap.
here we go again.
There we go
So-
again. I got to say, well, it doesn't matter. I got to get down to 150.
Yeah, I know,
For the
I know.
other car that's still waiting to
On
get
your way
done.
down. Okay, let's hear more
So
about this.
before we get to it, I'm going to talk a little bit about what resources a body shop has right now to fix ADAS. And if we make kind of a business school 101 chart with ADAS information on one axis and easy to use on the other axis, we've got our estimating systems, and they're right down there. They're not that difficult to use, but they don't have a lot of ADAS information. Unless you're replacing that sensor, most of the time you're not going to get a calibration, and you're going to miss about 95% of the calibrations you need to do,
Which is a problem.
which is a big problem.
Yeah.
Then we've got our scan tool. A little bit easier to use. If you listen to some, you can have your wash bay detailer do it, no problem. A little bit easier to use, but the same problem, it doesn't have ADAS information. Unless there's a DTC in there stating a calibration is required, you're going to miss it. And we're going to actually see that today with one of the cars we have here in the
So
back.
if we have a DTC, it might help us, but if we don't have a DTC, you won't know about it even though it needs calibration.
Exactly.
Got it.
And I think that's again another point that we can't overemphasize is that a lot of these systems aren't going to tell you if a calibration is required because it's a camera, right? And it's either sees something or it doesn't see something. The sensor's either going to see something or not see something. It just may not be in the proper location, and that's where the issue comes in.
Yep.
You know, they're smart, but they're not that smart
Yes.
yet.
Yet.
So we've got our estimating system, we've got our scan tools. Neither of them do a very good job of figuring out when we need to do an ADAS repair. And then of course we've got our service information, and I'll lump together just for our purposes OE service information or repair methods or all data. And they've got all of the information or just about all of it, but the problem is they're not easy to use. All of the OEMs have different names.
Yep.
Your talk yesterday, they mentioned there's 400 different names for ADAS systems. They're located in different parts of the repair manual. And if we're looking for a calibration for a front bumper, you may have to go into the remove and install procedure for that front bumper. But who's doing that if it's something that they've done 3,000 times before? Or you may have to go into the service information for the ADAS calibration procedure. But if you didn't have a calibration flagged on your estimating system and you scanned the car and there was nothing wrong with the module, why would you ever go and pull the service information for the ADAS calibration?
You wouldn't.
Exactly. So then we're relying on our estimators, and we're dealing with junior estimators who have done things the same way for 30 years. And we're adding to that the time pressure to write an estimate quickly for the customer or the insurance company, and a lack of knowledge, understanding, and experience for ADAS. So we didn't want to do any of that. We wanted to make a leapfrog product that is way easier to use and has all of the information in it. And that's ADASThink. That's where we are right now. So where do we start? Well, we start with getting the best OEM vehicle information we can
So let
on
me
the
just be
market.
clear real quick. So service information is the best,
Correct.
but it's not easy.
Correct.
And this stuff's easy, but not complete. And you're saying 100% complete and easy.
We're not 100% complete.
Okay.
We don't have Tesla, Maserati, Mitsubishi.
But if I'm on a Buick,
Yep,
yeah, we got it.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So right now we're
Not
20.
brands, but I mean, if you got the car and you can say it's easy.
So you have most of the popular vehicles.
Correct. We're 2013 up to 2020 for most domestics and Asian makes. For the Europeans, we're down to about 2019, but we're improving that as we go, so that should be updated. So your popular makes, if you're a kind of a luxury car dealer and you deal with a lot of Maseratis or Teslas, this may not be the product for you, but we wanted to build a broad-based product for the industry as a whole,
Well, and that was the
then we'll
question.
branch out from there.
And that was the question we just got in the last show was, where do we find this stuff?
Yep.
And we really want to say we want to go here
Yes,
prior to this presentation.
that's right.
Now there's a easier, complete way to do it.
Yes.
And that's why we were excited about this.
Yep.
And I will drive one point home here. We do want our customers to rely on ADasThink and have trust in us, but they should always verify what we say with the service information as well, because it's always ultimately on the body shop to perform safe and proper repairs. So I do want to emphasize that as well.
And we've got a front-end product here, so again, that makes sense. We go through that real repair plan, the repair
Yep.
process. We're going to need to refer that anyways.
Yeah, we have to, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're reinventing how we find and document ADAS, and we're going to start with the best OEM vehicle information that we can. Now we have build data for some of the most popular manufacturers that are listed here. So your GM brands, Chrysler, Mazda, Hyundai, and Nissan. We have the build data for, so we can tell you what color it was painted right out of the factory. We know exactly what's on that vehicle. If we don't have the build data, we still know what the trim level is. And if it's optional, we're going to take a look. And if we see a potential calibration, we will flag that for your estimator and say we found something. Is there front radar on that car?
Okay.
And they can choose yes or no.
That's a great ad. I like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's take a little spin and see how this works. I've got an example here of a 2019 Subaru Ascent Touring. So this is the highest trim level for Subaru. All of these ADAS systems are standard on the Touring. So if we're going to say what information on ADAS do we get back from the estimating systems, it should be fairly easy for them to catch everything. It's all standard. So this is estimating system number 1. It's kind of like an assault on your eyes to read through that. I don't want to read it. I don't think you want to read it.
All bold, no commas. Right?
But if you want to subject yourself to that misery, you could do that. And you could find that they've flagged 2 different ADAS systems. We've got a rear view camera and a blind zone. Well, the problem is there's 6 ADAS features on this car, and we're missing a whole bunch, right? Let's take a look at another one. So this is another estimating system which wasn't able to figure out the trim type on this Subaru. So we've got our estimator. Maybe they care about choosing the trim type. Maybe they don't. If they don't, you're not even close to being in the ballpark for ADAS information. If they do, with this estimating system, we're 5 for 6, but we're still missing rear collision mitigation.
Okay.
So we're not perfect.
And one of the things I want to say real quick is normally the collision repair industry, they put the VIN in, it starts to decode, and they want to trust that their estimating system's pulling everything out they need.
That's right.
And what you're demonstrating is that's actually not happening.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. And keep in mind, this is the highest trim level vehicle. Nothing is optional on this car. It's all standard
So it had everything except which one? The rear mounted camera?
with rear collision mitigation.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So that one there, it's not.
Yep. And then we've got our third estimating system. Wasn't even able to decode the VIN on this one. So we're gonna
Missed everything.
Yep.
Missed everything, yeah.
So if we put it in, and if we choose the right trim type, and maybe they care, maybe they don't. Here we're 4 for 6. So we're missing a couple there, rear collision mitigation, and we're also missing forward collision mitigation. And we could use our scan tool. So the estimating systems are no good, right?
Moral of that story.
Exactly.
MSP systems are not reliable.
Exactly.
Okay.
Then we're going to go, okay, maybe we can use our scan data. And those will give us a decent amount of information, but it's not complete for 2 reasons. The first one is if an ADAS module is damaged or non-responsive, it will not show up on that scan report. And that's probably the most critical time that you need to do a calibration is if you're replacing that module, and it's going to be completely invisible to that scan tool. The second reason why Scan Tool doesn't give you great insight into what ADAS is on the car is because some ADAS systems don't show up on a scan at all. And the biggest example of that is Honda's Lane Watch system, which does not have a dedicated module and will not show up on a scan. But there are others as well. So a Scan Tool isn't going to let you know what you've got on that car, right?
So it's a maybe, maybe not.
It's a maybe, maybe
Do we
not.
want to play that with our customer? Obviously not.
And there's a number of calibrations that are involved with parking sensors. You can call it a calibration or an operation check, whatever you want, but some kind of operation involved with parking sensors and rear view cameras, again, not necessarily showing up on a scan tool with a dedicated module, right? So why is that a problem? Well, all of these services don't get all of the information from the VIN. They're only seeing a small piece of the whole pie. And how do we solve this? Well, we're going to go outside of the estimating systems, and we're going to pull all of the information back that we can. For some OEMs, we get the build data. For some of them, we know the trim type and we know what's standard and optional. And so with that 17-digit VIN information in the build data, that's why we have the most advanced VIN decoding and VIN information system on the market today. And that's why our product really works like magic. It's far more accurate than anything that's on the market. We've got build data for certain manufacturers, and the results are instant, and we'll see that later. So we're going to take the most advanced VIN identification system on the market, and we're going to build on top of that a revolutionary ADAS calibration identification software that's going to look at all of the repairs that you're doing on that car and flag the calibrations that you need to do based on what you're doing. And why do we need to do this? Why do we need to do this? People are catching ADAS calibrations, right? They're not. They're not. And Jason, I know you've seen this study.
Yep.
But we did a study. We took a look at 100 estimates that we knew had calibrations, meaning we knew that those ADAS systems were on the car, and we knew a calibration was required because there were operations on that estimate requiring it. We found 122 ADAS calibrations on 100 estimates because, of course, you can have more than one on an estimate. And there were only 15 ADAS calibrations identified out of 122.
It's not good.
So the
No.
chances are those cars are back on the road,
Yep.
not calibrated.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
And the shop
Incorrect
probably
repairs.
thinks they're okay.
The shop probably
repairs.
thinks they're okay. Maybe they did a scan. There were no codes, coming back. So why would they check, right?
Somebody didn't read.
Now, we have stats available for our beta. So we've been in beta for about 2 weeks, and our users have used our products. And what we found, we did the same search. So we took a look at all of our estimates, and I think we've had about 2,500 estimates run through our system. Wow. And what we did is we took a look at how many calibrations we found, and we did a keyword search for calibration. So it's not perfect. We didn't look through 800 estimates with calibrations, but we had about 1,700 calibrations. And 439 of those, the word calibration was mentioned in the estimate. So they caught a calibration about 28% of the time. So a bit better than the 88% missing, but still we're missing things and we need to do better as an industry. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, this goes back to the fact that there's no great options. Your estimating system's not going to tell you, unless you're replacing that sensor, but alignments, suspension work, sensor mounting points, repairing or removing and installing sensor mounting points. These are the bread and butter of ADAS calibrations.
Glass replacement.
Glass replacement, exactly. And you're missing all of these on estimating systems, on scan tools. A scan tool, a healthy scan report is not an all clear for ADAS. And what I like to say, a scan tool, when it comes to ADAS, a scan tool is slightly more useful than a slide hammer for figuring out if you need to do a calibration. It should not be used as a crutch for ADAS. So if we're saying and we're agreeing as an industry we need to scan the car, why aren't you checking those ADAS systems to make sure they're repaired properly? And then, of course, we've got our estimators who don't have the time, don't have the experience, and don't have the knowledge.
Well, and in some cases, they're relying upon what they have currently.
That's
They
right.
look at their estimate going, well, it doesn't say it, so it probably is not there.
Yep.
And probably this show is just news to them now that, oh, wait a minute, I thought it already was there.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
You don't know what you don't.
And you don't even know that
Right,
you don't know.
what you don't know.
And the ignorance is just runs rampant
crazy.
sometimes.
That's right. So we've seen kind of what information we have with the Subaru, what we've pulled out, what the estimating systems show. Why don't we run this through with adasThink, and then we'll move on to some of the cars that we have here.
Okay, so this is not hooked up to that.
No.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if our viewers are seeing our screen yet.
Can we pull up Nick's laptop for a bit here?
Yep, it's okay. We'll fix all of
Okay.
this in post anyway, right?
No, this is live.
This is live. You're not fixing
This
anything
is
in
the
post.
concern. When you're live, it's going live.
I forgot to send you that email, Nick. I apologize. That's
Yeah,
on
this
me.
is
No,
live.
there's
We
no
gotta
edit on
do all
this.
of
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't have a 5-second delay
So-
on my microphone.
So I've got this collision hub estimate for the Subaru that we were just viewing.
Yeah.
And all I'm going to do is I'm going to drag and drop it into ADASThink. And within a second, we're
There
going to
it
get
is.
back how many calibrations we need to do, what's equipped on that car. So those 6 features are showing as equipped. And then the real magic kind of happens towards the bottom of the page. So we show you what sensor has to be calibrated, because at the end of the day, it is the sensor that has to be recalibrated and not the feature
Yep.
that it's responsible for. We also tell you what features that sensor is responsible for, right? So a camera may be responsible for lane departure, may also be responsible for forward collision mitigation, or that may be the front radar sensor. And we've kind of done all of that work on the back end.
So again, it's important to understand how that system operates so that we know exactly what we're dealing with, and especially, again, that post-repair scenario so that we can test all those systems.
Exactly. Exactly.
Especially when they technology stack with one sensor does multiple things too.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we tell you what sensor has to be calibrated. We tell you what it's responsible for. We highlight where on the estimate we flagged it. So we say, in this case, we've got a rear camera operation check. It's not a calibration per se, but it is required when you're removing and installing the rear gate garnish or removing and installing the rear camera. And the reason why that's important is Subaru owners are very picky.
Absolutely.
And they're relying upon the accuracy of the marker in that rear view camera when they're backing up to determine the distance.
And let me just say something. I wouldn't say Subaru owners are picky. I'll just say Subaru owners love their Subarus like their child.
Yes.
Now, if you call that picky, Subaru just love their car.
They do.
I've just lost the whole Subaru market.
No, Subaru, I mean, but if you want to take care of that person's child,
Yes.
you got to take care of this kind of stuff.
It's almost like it's part of their family in a
Absolutely.
way.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they'll build an extra garage just for the old Subaru so they have a place to park the new Subaru.
Exactly.
That's just how Subaru owners are.
Exactly. So I'm not sure if we're still on the screen here or not, but at the bottom of the
You're
page,
on that screen.
we've got the links to the OEM documentation. So we give you 2 links with ADASThink for every calibration you find. The first one is a link to where the manufacturer says the calibration is required. So we may, in this case, we'll link to the rear view camera remove and install procedure where they say it's required.
Okay.
The second piece of information we're going to give you is the calibration procedure itself. So you can determine as a body shop, do I need to sublet that work out to the dealership, or is it something we can do in-house?
Okay.
And there are a lot of calibrations that you as a body shop can do using a capable scan tool, sometimes the car's infotainment system, and tape or different things around the shop that you probably already have. And this Subaru rear camera operation check is a good example of that.
Okay.
So we're just going to navigate down here and we're going to open this link up in ALLDATA. And if my internet is going to cooperate with me here, it may take a little. We're fast. I don't know how fast ALLDATA will be.
We're in Arkansas.
We're
In weather, apparently.
Yeah, and it
Yes.
just
in
rained.
weather, yes, it is
It
raining.
just rained.
Just rain.
And I think they're out there repairing the telephone pole again.
They might be.
While we're just shooting live. There we go.
It worked 5 minutes ago.
That's the way it
doesn't
is.
mean
That's what they all say, right?
That doesn't mean anything.
So here we go. Here's the rear gate garnish procedure. And you can see here in step number 1, as part of the installation of that garnish, is installing the rear view camera assembly. So let's go ahead and click on that. When we click on that, and we can see in the rear view camera assembly, the last step after installing it is confirming the marker position. And we give you that procedure. We can go back, we can click on that procedure, open it up in ALLDATA, and it shows you how to do it. So all you have to do is you take a piece of tape, you make a cross, 25 centimeters one way, 25 centimeters the other way, find the center line of the vehicle, put it a certain distance back from the bumper, and see if that marker on the screen corresponds with that cross that you've made on the floor. And it's as simple as that, something a body shop can do using the proper scan tool and the proper equipment without necessarily subletting it to the dealer. And that's one of the things that we believe with ADASThink is we're going to enable you not only to find more ADAS calibrations, but we're going to help you do more ADAS calibrations, increase your mechanical labor time, and be more profitable as well. Right?
Okay, and the point really, it's going to cost more and all that, but really it's fixing the car right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Period.
That's the bottom
That's the
line
bottom
here,
line.
and that's what we're trying to solve.
Sure.
But we think fixing the car right can also be profitable.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's a win-win for everybody. It should be a win-win for the customer, for the shop, and for the insurers.
Yep.
We'll see how that plays out.
Well, I think the insurers, at the end of the day, if their customers are happy, they'll keep buying their policies.
That's right.
And it all works and they'll survive the next collision. I mean, everybody does win.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's a way to wow the customer in a way. When you deliver that customer back and say, you know, we recalibrated that rear view camera, and did you know if you put it back, you gotta make sure the marker position is right, and it's a way to kind of show that you know what you're doing. Yeah, you're on top of the technology, and that you left no stone unturned in that repair process.
And it goes back to that trust conversation we've been having several times already this week. It's just having that communication with that customer and making them feel comfortable and building their trust.
Yep.
Is going to go a long way. And then the same thing, you know, we also, there's a fourth one too, the OEM itself, right? Because if I have a good repair, my system works as designed, following the repair because the shop that I selected, whether they're in a network or not in a network, you know, they're more likely to go back to that vehicle manufacturer again as well.
And not brand switch.
Yep.
That's right. So we've done our Subaru, and now we're going to take a look at some of the cars we have back here. And I took the liberty of doing a scan on this terrain.
Yep.
There's a bunch of codes on here. You can see there's airbag codes. There's some engine codes. And I don't know if you can see this, but
I can see, I know what it says already.
Yeah, okay.
the front view camera, are there any codes on this car?
No.
Okay, so do you think we should maybe be calibrating this front? Probably shouldn't have to calibrate this camera,
Not
right?
according to this, it says
Right.
no fault.
It's fine,
Yeah.
right? And we're not touching the windshield, so our estimating system isn't going to flag
It
anything.
just needs a little bumper. Something,
Just a new grill.
Nothing big.
Just a buff,
right?
a little buff,
Duct tape.
duct tape.
So we've done that. I don't know if we can come back to the computer here, but we're going to actually run this through. We're going to run this through our system, so we're going to just
So
drag and drop it.
you've written an estimate, a little bit of an estimate on this
I've
vehicle,
written
is that
I've
correct?
written an estimate. So I've written for a new bumper. I've written for a new grille, a fender, and a little bit of refinish. I wouldn't call it a Collision Hub approved estimate
Just
in any
for
sense
this
of
is
the
for
word.
demonstration
You put
purposes
down to
only.
replace
Well,
that
you-
grill.
Basically, if you just click on, let's say, the bumper, the headlight, and the fender, along with the grill,
Yes.
that's enough for you just to be able to populate something to show up. It's not a full estimate, obviously, with everything.
Depends
It's
who you
just-
ask.
I'm grabbing. Well, I'm just grabbing the stuff that's going to have the ADAS systems in it,
Yes.
and that's going to populate something right off the bat. So even if I didn't complete the estimate yet, for example, but I want to just write a quick estimate. Maybe somebody's going to disassemble it, and I'll go back to it. But I can right away at
Yes.
the beginning, before I disassemble this car and find out maybe it needs a rail or the motor's cracked or something, I can find out right up front. Here's the ADAS system just based on these components alone.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. We pull that those ADAS systems right from the VIN, so it doesn't matter how complete it is. Once we get that VIN, we know all of those features that are on that vehicle. GM is an example of a vehicle we do have build data for, so we do have the build data for this terrain. We know it's got lane departure prevention, forward collision mitigation, which is controlled by the camera and not a radar. It's also got following distance alert, so it will tell you how far you're following the car in front at a certain speed, I believe. Again, controlled by the camera, and then it's got a backup camera. And if we scroll down here to the bottom of the page, we tell you that camera is responsible for lane departure and the following distance alert. We've flagged that, and we discussed this with iCar yesterday. If a GM vehicle is involved in a collision, the front view camera has to be calibrated. And we flagged that, so we've got there, if the vehicle's involved in a collision, you have to do a calibration. And we give you a second reason, and we highlight it.
But wait a minute. That scan said there's no fault.
I know.
So why do we have to do it?
Well, he read, obviously. Because he had to read his paperwork.
I know.
mean, he
Well, it
read
says-
that.
it says
he,
no
read
fault.
he read the repair manual, so now he knows to put it on that piece of paper that you have to read. Like, do you come to the shop and read it for somebody? Because, you know, they're just lazy. They don't want to read.
You know, we go like right up to that point.
Yeah.
Maybe we
Maybe
should
you should
have.
make a program that like has a video that you're on there and go, hey, look, we printed this out. I'll read it to you, you know,
There you go.
to make it, because that's what they want. They want it as easy as they possibly can get it.
No, you want it where the arm reaches out with a baseball bat and hits them. That's
Yeah,
what you
so
want.
that's the wake-up call one.
I don't know if the Microsoft Sam voice is still a thing. I guess they have the Alexa and the Siri, but maybe we can team up with the
you
OEMs
go.
and just have them read out the service information.
I can't talk to Siri anymore. She has an order of protection out against me.
Yeah. So the problem. So
Yes,
what we're really saying, really simple, just to
Yes.
clarify, is that it says no fault here,
that's right.
and damage here requires that we recalibrate those cameras.
Exactly.
And how do we know that? By having it, using the build data, it has that option, and therefore it's got to be done.
Exactly.
And it pops up. Got
Based
it.
on the
Exactly.
repair information.
Exactly.
So if you don't research or read or utilize this system, you would assume, which is the worst word in the English dictionary besides I think or I thought. So you would assume I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
So the car can leave.
That's what the scan report
and
would say to
stuff
most
may not
people.
work properly.
And this is also a good example because GM and Collision Hub was the leader in this. GM recently changed their ADAS calibration requirements as of July, I believe. So if you looked at this in one of the third-party information providers, those have not been updated yet, at least the ones we used. So we actually went back and we referenced the original GM document. It's in the service information now. We use their public-facing document that Collision Hub released so that it's a broader appeal to the industry and everyone can access it without having to go behind a paywall. But we've actually gone beyond all data and now have gone to the actual GM document, which is more current. And then we still have the calibration information, which shows you how to perform that calibration. Of course, GM front cameras are dynamic. So you plug a scan tool in, put it into learn mode, perform that calibration, and your test drive is part of the drive back. Make sure that it all works.
I might get out of Wi-Fi range on my test drive, though.
You might-
Whole different problem. Not
Yes.
today's
Whole
con-
different
Not today's
problem.
conversation.
Not
Okay.
today's
Okay.
conversation.
Nick, we've got a question that came in from Kyle. Wants to know with regard to when we're doing, when you're pulling it in there, pulling those procedures. Do you need to have a subscription to all data when you're pulling that?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yes, you do. We give you the link to all data. If you're not a subscriber, it's not going to be visible to
Got
you. We love all data.
Yeah.
And so we want to encourage people to have that, but you need that basic
Sure.
information at least, all data, to access that.
Yep. Perfect.
Right?
Well, and the same thing with the OEM site too, right?
Yep.
You got to have you have to have a subscription to them to actually, when you click the button, to get into theirs too.
That's
right?
exactly right.
Yeah.
So some of the 2021s, Honda, Acura, Hyundai we have, those haven't migrated to all data yet. So we actually link directly to the service information, and you'll have to buy, a
So you
subscription
get your
to access that.
multi-day pass, and
Yeah.
you're going.
That's
You're,
right.
you're
Good to go.
golden.
Now we do provide a PDF report, so everything you see here, you can print it out. That's what we're saying. We provide the link. So whether or not that's sufficient for the bill payer is a different question. But if you want to actually access those links, you'd have to buy a subscription to the Honda or all data, as the case
Yeah,
may
of
be.
course.
So this is our terrain.
Yep.
We've got a calibration, clean scan report, and a calibration. That's done. We've got a Denali, which we can't show, but it's hitting the front pretty bad.
Yep.
We showed it yesterday.
Yep. That's GMC Sierra 2500 Denali. Yep.
That's right. So again, front bumper, the grille probably needs to be replaced.
I think
I might go
and-
with that. I know you're going out on a limb on there. Maybe you need two headlights, so I'm not positive on that one.
The hood you could probably repair.
Yeah, a little
Okay.
buffing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. Just needs a little buff.
It needs a bumper too.
So we can't show the car,
But you can show the grill.
but I can show you the grill. And this is the grill. And if you can take a look, you can see it's got the camera.
Yep.
So it's got the front view camera. It's a surround view monitor system. I didn't check all of the estimating systems, but one of them, surround view monitor, was not even listed as an option. So they had standard and optional. You couldn't even pick surround view monitoring,
Didn't catch
even though it's on the car. And you can pick grill with camera in the estimating system.
Okay.
It doesn't. So, but that's neither here nor there.
And that was a pretty simple one. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a camera right there in the
That's
grill.
right.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
actually, when I walked around the truck, you saw the cameras in the mirror, and you also saw it on the back gate.
Yep.
So, obviously, this kind of, and once again, knowing cars, Denalis are usually fully loaded.
Yes.
With mostly almost everything except like the entertainment system in the back of
Yeah,
the
sure.
headrests.
Yep.
That's always an option.
So we'll take a look. Again, I've written a very small pro forma estimate. That car will probably have to be measured. I don't know if it's even repairable, but that's completely outside of
Always
my
a
wheelhouse
function of
now.
money.
Yes. So we're going to run this one through, and we're going to run the 2500 through.
So you just like bring this up.
Yep.
You're just dragging and dropping.
That's it. That's it.
You're not like clicking and typing, or you're just dragging and dropping. and it
Just
pulls it.
drag and drop it in.
So you save your estimate to a PDF,
Yep, drag and
That's
drop.
and then drag out of your documents to that, and then it takes care of it. Okay.
Exactly. You can click an upload button and find it in the folder and then select it, or you can just drag and drop it in.
seems easier.
It's easier for me.
Yeah.
Some people like both ways. So that Denali is same thing. So we've got the build data for that one. So that's got a head-up display, as Larry said. It's got just about all the options: surround view monitoring, forward collision mitigation, rear camera, blind spot, the whole meal deal. And we weren't actually able to scan this one because I don't think
Yeah, the battery's
Yeah,
the
the
dead.
battery's
battery's
dead.
the battery's gone. So what do we have here? Well,
Easy to push though.
we know from this terrain we have to calibrate the camera. Again, if I had to hazard a guess, I don't know if the windshield is cracked, but if we didn't have to do anything with the windshield,
We still have to do a calibration or an aiming of it because the front is hit
Yes.
based on the same. And that's one good thing about you both in GM. It's going to be similar because they use the same camera system.
that's right.
Consistency.
And I like to say about ADASThink is, there's a dating app called Hinge, and they say we're made to be deleted. And I feel the same way about our product. We're made to be deleted. If you use us enough, you will have a familiarity with the ADAS calibrations to the point where you don't need to upload the estimates. It'll already be in the back of my mind. It's a GM. I've done this 100 times before. I know if it's involved in a collision or if the airbags are blown, I have to do the calibration.
And I know where to look up the documentation now or what section look at.
And I get it.
Exactly.
If you're gonna like a dating app, if you actually find the person,
Yep.
delete. If you're fixing one car, delete.
Yep,
But if you're fixing multiple cars that are constantly changing,
that's right.
you may want to keep it around for a minute.
May want to keep it around. And even if we're going to get you to that repair information that much quicker
That's
because we
quick.
just provide that instant link. So
Yeah.
there's still value there. So we've got two calibrations on that Denali. We've got the front camera, which is because it's involved in a collision, and also we've got the surround view monitoring system because we're going to be replacing that grilling camera. And so what's involved, and again, we can click on that link, and we can see, and this is an interesting one because GM states that the surround view monitoring system actually calibrates automatically with every ignition cycle. But you need to be in the car and you need to take it for a drive between a certain speed range and make sure that that system has calibrated itself correctly. So there's still a place there for the shop to oversee that calibration. You're not, just because you're not pressing a calibrate button and then dynamically driving it, doesn't mean it's not a calibration and there's nothing for you to do. You still need to be part of that process and make sure it works. We shouldn't be giving the car back to the customer and saying, here you go.
It'll do it
probably
eventually.
calibrate itself. Halfway through your drive, maybe it'll work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's our Denali, that's our 2500. And then finally, we've got a Nissan Altima. We can't show that either. It's just a light hit in the back. And we'll drag and drop it. But this is a nice one because there's actually no calibrations. We've got the build data for Nissan. Their blind spot monitors are plug and play, so they're automatically calibrating. They do have what they call an action test. So it's kind of like an advanced test drive where you have to drive it, but you're also trying to monitor for certain functions and make sure it works. So it's not a calibration per se, but shops should be aware that Nissan has a very detailed set of action tests for each ADAS system once you've repaired it. But we can take a look in there and we can see all the ADAS features, and there's no required calibrations, and that's also a good peace of mind for you as well.
Yeah, and one of the things that in the world we live in is that a lot of people see a sensor and they go, oh, it's a blind spot monitor. I got to put down blind spot monitor recalibration.
Yep,
And what you're telling me is that it's saying it actually doesn't need that.
correct.
So that's where the advantage comes in for the bill payer going, oh, they discovered it. They don't have to actually do anything with it. Yeah, it has that thing. So there is an advantage to all parties
Yeah.
Yep.
based on what it pulls up.
And you know, there is a tendency for the pendulum to swing the other way, where a body shop maybe has bought that calibration equipment and they say, well, there's damage in that area, so it needs to be recalibrated. And the answer to that is also not necessarily.
necessarily.
You've got to look in the service information, see what the manufacturer says, and then make that determination. So we're not only helping you find things, but we're also pulling back that impulse to calibrate absolutely everything just because you have a little bit of damage near that sensor.
So yours is going to help, this system, which is fantastic,
Yep.
is going to help to show us the calibrations needed and not needed, so we only do what the car needs, not what it doesn't.
Exactly.
Simple.
Yep.
I love it.
Awesome, yeah.
Cool. Do we have any more questions coming in?
Throw it to PowerPoint.
No. Okay, we're good on questions. Well, I think it's
Just
awesome.
going back to your PowerPoint, right?
I think it's awesome.
Good.
Okay.
We're good. So, cool. We got. You got any other questions for Nick here?
No, I just thank you. This is awesome, and this is kind of the questions that we get. You know, we're watching things online and
Yep.
all these different things. Oh, well, you know, can you send me the thing on? And how do we do this? And how do we do that? I mean, knowledge is power. And then the problem is, people just don't know where to look, or they don't know to look, or they just don't look.
Or it takes too much time to look.
That's why.
Yep. Yep.
You know, so drag and drop.
That's it. We're going to help you.
Per use, or you have a subscription type thing? I mean, 'cause I
question.
don't think that question came up at all.
that's right.
Or wasn't talked about. So, like, do I pay? Is it like pay-per-view each time I use it, or can I buy a subscription? And is it a long subscription? Is it a short subscription? Do I pay monthly? What's the options?
Well, I'm not sure what pay-per-view you're talking
Well,
about,
like
Larry.
One shot. Yeah.
Like one shot, I pay per usage.
He has an annual subscription to that channel. Don't worry.
Right.
You know, the OEMs have that pay-per-view. You can do it for 3 days or 1 day with
Yeah.
certain ones, or you can buy
Yes.
the yearly or the monthly.
So we're in beta right now, and we will be for the rest of the week. Anybody watching can create a free account and use us for free up until the end of the week. On Monday, we will be switching to paid. It will be a subscription-based model, so you'll be able to run a certain amount of estimates. For example, you'll be able to run up to 25 estimates a month for $54.99 a month. We think that's where most shops are going to be, because still about half your car park
That's
or more.
about $2 an estimate.
That's about $2 an estimate, and we're saving you time. We're helping you fix cars properly, and we're putting the documentation right in your hands. And we think there's a ton of value there.
Yeah, pay for itself pretty quickly. I'm sure.
Exactly.
Well, I'll tell you what, Nick. I'm super excited. We're so happy that you made it. We're so happy that you came up with this. And again, award-winning, and I'm excited. I'm excited to watch what happens next, and we'll keep working with you and get the word out there. So where do I go if I want to do the beta test? Where would I go for that?
Anyone who's interested can go to adasThink.com. We've got a few buttons on the website that says Join Beta. You'll register yourself. You'll be immediately enrolled in the beta. There's no credit card required. There's no strings attached. There are no commitments. We're not going to roll you into a paid plan when we switch. It's completely up to you, and it's completely free.
This is insane. I can't imagine any shop watching this not doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, crazy.
Why won't you?
Is
right?
it available only through laptop-type computers or desktop computers, or is it going to be mobile-friendly, like an iPad or a tablet, like a Microsoft tablet, or an Android tablet, or even, let's say, a phone that I have the ability that I can have PDFs in there. I'm on the fly, I'm in front of the car. Oh, I forgot to put this in. Let me go to the ADAS. I can go from Dropbox or Google Drive, and I can just, copy and paste it into. Is that going to be eventual, or?
Any computer system that has a browser in it, so that's a computer, a laptop, a tablet, a mobile phone, we would work with all of those. If you're using some kind of aftermarket scan tool that's got a sandboxed Android that you can't download apps to, we probably wouldn't work with that. But any kind of tablet or phone or laptop.
Because some shops
Except for flip phone.
do go with the estimating on
Except
on
for
a
flip
tablet.
phones. But now there's flip phone.
I know,
There's
flip phone,
smartphone.
Android. I
Smartphone,
know,
flip
I know.
phone.
Smartphone,
Flip
flip
phone.
phone, yeah.
Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All
Yeah,
right,
so
well,
this is
Nick,
crazy that, all these, it's for free.
Yep.
Pretty much any device. Why wouldn't every shop in the world that watches this and everybody they know actually just jump in?
take it for a spin.
Can your server handle all this?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Cool.
We run on the cloud. It's the beauty of Microsoft. They've got a lot of capacity.
Plenty of room.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, again,
Cool.
Nick, thank you very
Yep,
much.
thank you.
We're excited
you.
for you. Everybody, we will be back at 2:30 with Opus IVS. Also today at 1 o'clock is our first roundtable. So join iCar's Repairability Technical Support website. There'll be a link for the roundtable. That'll be at 1 o'clock. So visit our social media channels for the link for that. Sit down with Scott Van Hooly and team. Ask him any questions that you got. Give me your best Ask iCar questions. We'll put him on the spot there a little bit without any warning, right?
Yes.
Unless he's watching right now. And again, don't forget to visit the Collision Repair Education Foundation. Keep those donations coming. We're selling shirts. We're raising money for career and technical school and college programs across the country. So again, visit the Collision Repair Education Foundation. $50 gets you that nice technician shirt, that limited edition technician shirt, and we're excited about that. So we'll see you at 1 o'clock in the roundtable, and we'll see you back at 2:30 with Opus.